Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Bear, and I'm coming to you today on our Women's Health Month. Don't you love the backdrop? I'm on location with a beautiful, beautiful collaborative clients of mine from Lion and Unicorn. You'll hear about this in just a little bit on the emotional part of women's health. But this is truly a picture of Mars. It's a picture of Mars because they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus, or is it men are from Venus and women are from Mars? Well, we're different planets, but we're having half of the planet come together today. And for those of you that don't know me, thank you for tuning in to our Healthopedia channel. Thank you for coming to what I'm saying is Women's Health Month. What do we do? Doctor Talk. Once a month, we talk about a pertinent topic. And to this topic on our Healthopedia channel, YouTube, Healthopedia 365, we're going to come alive with women's health. Well, this side of glory, I'm a woman. Truly, truly know that women have an emotion a month. No, that's men, whether they're from Venus or Mars. Women have an emotion a minute, maybe a second if it's that time of the month. But you're going to hear tips and training in all 6 pillars of this health thing we call health that I've done for 48 years. Now coming together on Doctor Talk with some of the finest of the finest. You'll hear from the happy hormone doctor, Dr. Glen Depke. You're going to hear from the kinesiologist, brain man, Dr. Bill Janeshak, and CEO of Next Level Recovery, Next Level Housing, but Medical Mindshare, where Venus and Mars came together with Renee Brown and her husband, Michael Brown, to create the underserved integrative medical practice and modality. Absolutely, Medical Mindshare, our sponsor for today. Why is this important? Because we need each other. We come in to each other. We know what we're doing. You'll hear everything that you need to know about women's health. But I want you to go ahead and scan this code right now. That's the code of our book. Our book. Yes, The Essence of a Woman. It was acclaimed. It was on New York Times Square, on the NASDAQ board, the beginning of February. It's everywhere, and it's soon going to be in 2 very more notable retail distribution sites within this next month. Get ready for that announcement. We're already in Barnes & Noble. Of course, you can get the book with this code on Amazon.com. Why is this important? Because we give a portion of the proceeds of every book that is sold back to women helping women, but the world helping our children. As Les Brown says, children are 60% of our population, but 100% of our future. So it goes to feedthechildren.org, still in Western North Carolina, in my backyard, what has happened there. And certainly, we want to help them, and you will be helped so much of our book. Dr. Glenn wrote the foreword. The happy hormone doctor wrote his chapter in there. And of course, you'll hear from radiant Renee Brown in the book with Rosie. But until I bring up my esteemed panel, let's hear from Renee Brown, bringing Venus and Mars together as she did so succinctly and brilliantly with Medical Mindshare with co-founder, her husband, Michael Brown. Take a look, take a feel, take a listen.
From the well-known brands of Next Level Recovery and Sober Living Properties, Michael and Renee Brown present Medical Mindshare. Medical Mindshare has been designed to deliver integrative care and precision medicine throughout the community. Discover a more personalized path to wellness. Some people might ask, why is integrative care up and coming medically? Our answer is that integrative care can be tailored to your specific needs and goals. Integrative care considers mindfulness as a modality and many other alternative therapies amongst traditional medicine. Another feature of Medical Mindshare is enhanced recovery and rapid healing. It's always at the forefront of our minds so that you can experience accelerated healing and a reduction of symptoms. Contact us today to schedule a consultation.
And I can tell you, with Renee and absolute brilliant mind, you will get, when you go to info@medicalmindshare.org, you will get your fill of information. And are you ready? I'm bringing up my esteemed panel again this month for Women's Health Month, none other than Glen Depke, Dr. Bill Janeshak, and here we are, and Radiant Renee Brown. We're just calling her Rosie from our book because she has roses in her picture. But Glen, we're going to start today. As I already said, I'm so honored that it's always a friend of a friend. It's that collaboration that we have in community, that Dr. Bill introduced me to you, Dr. Glen. The fact that you're in our forward of our esteemed book. Now it's everywhere. I will say that we got over 1,000 people went ahead and purchased our book after the NASDAQ board. It wasn't because they saw Tiffany Haddish, Dr. Khalila Ali, Muhammad Ali's wife, or Princess Maradi, and they saw it was forward by Glen Depke. Feeling young again, that's what you do. Happy hormone doctor. Give us your best on women's health and hormones, please.
I might surprise you today because, of course, you're probably thinking I'm going to talk about hormones, and I am in a level, but differently. You know, a lot of times from a woman's health perspective, we do talk about hormones, you know, and while hormones are very important because it's not just about your hormonal system and it's not just about really everything that we think of with hormones, like we think of estrogen and progesterone and maybe testosterone and such. But what I really want every woman to understand with this is that when you think of your hormonal system, it's not just about that. You have to think that your hormonal system as a whole has a direct impact, and there's going to be tests on this later, so make sure you take notes. So you have to make sure that you recognize it has an impact on your overall, the function of your pancreas, the function of your thyroid, the function of your ovaries, especially on childbearing years, obviously. It has a direct impact on your metabolism of fats and protein, every detoxification pathway in your body, pro and anti-inflammatory states, immune regulation, cellular energetics, and who doesn't want more energy nowadays? Also, glucose balance, which is essential for your brain to function properly, your musculoskeletal health, and then your neural connectivity, which is now talking about your quality of sleep and mood, your ability to memorize and learn, and your and overall just how your brain and your nervous system communicate in your body, which obviously is everything. Now, so that's what your hormones will actually impact. So when you think of your hormone health, it's really not just about estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. It's really about the whole of your body. And I also want you to understand that when your hormonal system is off, it's not a problem with your hormonal system for most people. It's a problem with whatever's triggering the hormone response. Yeah, so if somebody's already in the depth of an imbalanced hormonal response, yes, you do want to help support your hormonal system, but supporting your hormonal system doesn't fix the problem. What fixes the problem is getting to whatever has triggered the problem for you in the first place. Sure. And the one place that I'll share, that women have a much tougher time, and I know Jody has heard me say this, and Dr. Bill has, and perhaps even Renee, is I'm one of the maybe few men that doesn't have a problem sharing that men have it way easier than women. Yeah, and I know this because I've worked with women. I've been in private practice since 2001, and I've been looking at since 2001, and I've been working with hormones since 2004. So most of my client base is actually women, and I'm always working on hormones. Now, what I've recognized through those years is that most women, and as a woman, you probably resonate with this. You spend most of your time in adult life really taking care of others. You take care of your children, you take care of your spouse or your significant other, you take care of your home. Very often you're involved in your church and your community. Oh, and guess what? You work a full-time job too, right? So a woman's life has a strong potential to be very difficult, to be very overwhelming, where you're overworked, you're overstressed on a regular basis. So is it a wonder why your hormonal system may be imbalanced, right? And I also want you to understand your hormonal system, the triggers are not just the mental emotional stress you deal with on a daily basis and the amount of overwhelm and overwork and overstress that you deal with on a regular basis, because you also have to look at it from I love Jody always refers to it as the pillars of health. I refer to it as fundamentals of health. You have to take care of the easy things, the simple things that unfortunately most of us aren't taking care of. Are you breathing right? Are you deep breathing through the day to really stimulate a parasympathetic response? Are you drinking enough good, clean, pure water? Are you really taking care of your nutrition and not only feeding yourself things that make you feel better, but also stop feeding yourself the things that make you feel worse? On top of that, are you sleeping well? Are you getting to bed early enough? Are you having a good night's sleep? Are you waking up like a little kid at Christmas time, which means that you went through a healthy sleep cycle? Are you moving your body properly? What's your activity like? While I'm not a chiropractor, Dr. Bill to take care of that. Yeah, but something I always say, I tell this all my clients, while I'm not a chiropractor, I definitely support quality chiropractic care on a regular basis, because you've got to have proper alignment of your spine. If you don't, that's another trigger. On top of that, it's also movement of your colon. Something that a lot of people don't like to talk about is bowel movements, but it's something that's essential for you to recognize that you really want to have at least 2 healthy bowel movements per day. And you have to get healthy sun exposure on a regular basis and have the ability, and I know Renee can always talk about this so diligently, you have to have the ability to perceive stressors in a healthy way and have healthy tools to reduce or eliminate those stressors. And those are your pillars, those are your fundamentals. But then other triggers as to why your hormonal system is likely off would be things like food sensitivity in your body. Most people don't know, women don't really understand that 86% of the women who have a food sensitivity are asymptomatic. So it's not like you eat the food and you feel terrible after, except you eat the food. It's driving an inflammatory response in your gut, which is affecting your gut, your brain, your immune system, and the inflammation caused by that is blowing out your hormonal system. It's about infections that you have that can be anywhere in the body, but most notably in the gut. It's about the toxicity that you're carrying around in your body on a regular daily basis that not only, most toxicity will generally be stored in your fat, which isn't highly dangerous, but a lot of times what happens is that toxicity, there's such an overwhelm of toxicity, ends up in connective tissue or nervous system tissue. So my message today that I really want to make sure that every woman understands is that you most likely already are behind the 8 ball from the beginning, because you are a woman, because you do spend most of your adult life overworked, overwhelmed, and overstressed. And on top of that, if you're not taking care of your fundamentals of health or your pillars of health, as Dr. Jody always refers to this, and if you have these other underlying triggers, it's not going to end well for you. And you're not going to feel well going through it. And the reason why I feel that this message is so important is because these are all things that you can change. You can make decisions and choices today that actually change your pillars of health. You can start looking at the possibility of these other triggers that are blowing out your hormonal system and making you feel miserable on a regular daily basis. And you have the power and control to turn all this around, to feel amazing, which is not only something you want, it's something you deserve. So that's my message.
Well, see, I know it's ND after your name, but did we just get a PhD's worth? See, applause. Your guy Bill was going applause. You blow my mind. I am so grateful for this message. And is it all right if I give you credit when I'm at the UN on the 14th and I use some of your points? I'm going to replay that. You just gave me my information. Thanks, Glenn. So much. And as you see the books there, the QR code, just buy the book. You'll know it, because reading Glenn's chapter, that it was just marvelous. Okay. You're a giant. among many things, but you're really a giant and for we women. Thank you, Glenn. And like I said, it's going to be all about the men, first of all. First of all, I must be why my hair came out curly today, because it's all about the men. We go to Glenn, to Bill, but it's only great men, Bill, that give great referrals like Dr. Glenn, like versus like. So if you just go to Bill Janeshak on Facebook, you'll get the pose, you'll get the deal. He did a great Facebook Live the other day just on nutraceuticals and why you need those things in your body. But I think you're talking today, Mr. and Dr. NLP DC, about the brain. So take it away, Bill.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I always have a great time on when we all get together, because it, Renee or Glenn or Mike or you or whoever that we have on over there, it reminds me of just little nuances that we go. And usually after, if I go second or something, I just go like what Mike said or what Glenn said, because it's all the same thing. And, Glenn calls them fundamentals, you call them pillars, and I call them foundations. And it's exactly the same thing. What are you eating? What are you breathing? What are you eliminating? Are you sleeping? Are you moving? Are you reducing your stress? Are you getting some sunshine? You getting out the water? It's always the same thing. And it's the balance. And each one of those is the rabbit hole in itself.
Yes.
And we live in a fractal universe, which just kind of means that the macros is just millions of little micros that we have to do. There's a point in nature, God or universe or whoever you say it is, created us with a system, with precision. Mm-hmm. And it's our lifestyle, our environment that tends to get us out of that balance. And once that balance gets out, the body is a wonderful genius mechanism that will adapt. If it gets cold outside, we start to shiver. If it gets hot outside, we start to sweat. We will always constantly adapt. We tend to get overwhelmed by our environment, and our environment can be our family. And like Glenn said, women, you've taken on masculine roles and feminine without leaving your femininity, without putting that aside either. You're trying to balance both. And we can do those in short sprints because we're awesome human beings and we have all the tools, but that's when we get overwhelmed. And the adaptation comes, we need more blood sugar. With blood sugar, we need more insulin and so on and so on. And all the chemical stuff that Glenn talks about, it's always what's the cause of the cause. And so rather than go down Glenn's rabbit hole, what he just talked about, we'll just take that other thing I'm a movement guy. And movement is a neurological process. Everybody thinks that we are a bunch of levers and pulleys that are moving around, but muscles are part of the endocrine system. When we move and when we move in high intensity, we actually change the brain chemistry. Best way to change your physiology is through movement. Even so, like my jam is stress. And the only reason that my jam is stress is because the very things that break people down, physical, chemical, and emotional, you can take all those things out, are the exact same things if you take care of and you optimize, makes you a wonderful superhuman being. Because just as the body will adapt into a negative situation, it'll also adapt into a positive situation. So the more we are physically strong, we're actually strengthening our mind. If I'm able to move muscles and move them, not only big one muscle, but we have all the little muscles moving together, and those are the muscles of the blood vessels and the heart and the capillaries and the lymphatic system and everything else, as well as the naked on the beach physique that everybody seems to want about this time of year as we're coming into summer season and bikini season. But if you start moving those things around and you're getting a loving feeling, you're able to move those hormones around faster. You're able to change your brain chemistry faster. We're able to breathe better. So all those foundation pillars and fundamentals, we're able to execute at a higher level. So for women, because they've taken on so much, and because the complexity of the hormonal system that they have, I mean, hormones are complex in the world, but now you add stresses onto that. Now you have reproductive hormones with stress hormones, with poor diet, or even you try your best, but we're still getting crap in our food. We're still not able to detoxify to the level of the crap that we're getting in from our environment. And this means that if you have crappy friends, if you don't have somebody you feel that you can lean on, you don't have a purpose in life to get up. So if you have a great body and you do wake up like a little kid on Christmas Day, but there's really no reason because there's no bike in the living room and Santa Claus left me coal again, then you're just like, well, this is screwed. You're not as excited as life. But every thought that you have, and Renee is the expert on that, she can talk about that, but the thought is going to frame how you see the world, and your mind will also get you moving. And this is where we get into our dopamine. And everybody talks about dopamine hits, and they're going, oh, dopamine, it excites you. Dopamine does not excite you. Dopamine in itself is a dread in most things, because dopamine is it's an expectation neurotransmitter. It means that I have to get up from where I am and I have to go over there to get it. And it's a survival hormone or a neurotransmitter that I either have to go kill something because I'm hungry, or I have to go find that woman and propagate the species, but she's way over there and the wildebeest is over there. So I got to move. So we've got to have that motivation. And that's to get it. So with like Parkinson's disease is when we start to decrease our wanting to move. So that's why it's hard for Parkinson's people, neurodegenerative diseases, to get moving. But once they get moving, it's hard for them to stop. So it's a momentum. And once you get whatever you're looking at, the bride or the wildebeest, then we get serotonin. Then we get happy about it. And that's the cycle that gets us going. But if our bodies are not capable of going, you can have a great neurotransmitter. I really want to kill that wildebeest. But if I can't even draw my sword or walk over there or run, it gets depressive. And then that gets over to, everything else. With women, they've got to get up and take care of the kids. They got to take their CEOs of their household and their businesses. They've got to kick ass and take names. They've not only got to bring home the bacon and cook it up in the pan, they've got to clean it up afterwards. They've got to do everything else. And where is there time for them to take care of their foundations, fundamentals, and pillars? And like every single one of those things is a rabbit hole that you can spend a lifetime in a career, and we have those to take care of. And the truth is that you can't separate those. Every time I talk to a patient about stress, I have to go back over like that. And then I have to go into nutrition and how are those? And I go crying to Glen. I'm going, Glen, what happens in this kind one? And we get more nuance in that. And you can't have somebody that is stressed out with poor blood sugar and not being able to move and produce those things that's going on. You can't have anybody that's trying to do a transformational change. We just entered Ramadan and Lent, and this is the 40 days of transformation, preparing yourself. And Ramadan is getting back down to the basics. This is a perfect time of year to be talking about that, because let's get down to these fundamentals and start moving a little bit more, start eating a little bit better, and calm ourselves down. I don't know when it happened, but it always seems about putting more acceleration or more stomping harder on the gas pedal. And we've got to have that break, because you cannot recover. If I was $1 billion a year athlete coming back over there, I'm not playing every day. I'm playing my hardest, then I'm resting and I'm recovering so I can come back and do that again. We are urban athletes, and we need to treat ourselves as so. If LeBron James can spend $1 million a year on his health to be at the top of his game, so he can come back time and time again and be effective at 40 years old, why the hell don't we do it? Our lives are just as important to our family as LeBron James is to his. So maybe we all don't have $1 million just to go spend willy-nilly on things, but breathing is free. Sleeping is easy. We all got to eat. Just make better choices. Walk up the stairs or to the store instead of Instacarting or DoorDashing or whatever it is to get these things done. Take some time. Go out and find your family and find your friends. Go for a walk together. You get that emotional bond at the same time. When we don't have that community around us to bring us back and say, hey, you're burning pretty heavy at the candle at both ends. And this is where because women are especially bonded. You guys are pumping out that oxytocin faster than anybody. You have these bonding abilities that men bond well, but it's more like grunt, scratch, fart, like kind of moving that way. But women need that more than ever because of the emotional component that they have. They're expressors. Men tend to keep things on the inside and they have to draw it out. Women need to have those emotional support, and they're not getting it because they're trying to be more masculine, and it's not the time for it. They need some time to kick back and move around. Just from a clinical standpoint, 12 minutes of exercise, high intensity exercise a week, resets everything. It really impacts the hormone balance. It changes the brain. It changes the structure and function of the brain. And if your brain is functioning well and you're sharp and everything's a lot easier. And you need to move that around, get your flexibility and your balance. And as we get more mature, and mature is defined anybody over 40.
Thank you.
Yes, it's maturity. And I've joked about that forever, but the fact is, in this day and age, at the very day and age when kids are not going to outlive their parents, there's more diabetes and sickness and obesity and everything bad. We are also in the same environment that it is. If you take care of yourself and you dial this stuff in, you can live very easily to 100 years old, smart, active, quick, and we have the technology. We are building the $6 million man today because we have the technology to make him bigger, stronger, and faster, and we can make the bionic woman the same way. It's just taking care of yourself and getting this stuff done. But it's you've got to move it or you will lose it. And it starts with your body, breathing and moving, and that will help everything else. Then you can go to Glen's chapter in your book and you can pick out and look at that hormonal things. It's all fractal. And from that point on, they can sit over with Renee and her colleagues and go back over and take care of that mindset. And you have physical, chemical, and emotional, and you are living a wonderful woman's life.
And a wonderful woman's life by an absolutely beautiful, bold Dr. Bill. Thank you. Because now we've got fundamentals, because you always put fun in the fundamentals. There you go, without a doubt. And we're going to have some fun. If you need a break with some healthy nutrition, this is doctor formulated. One of the doctors is here. 6 mushroom coffee. There's one on the TV. They talk about mushroom coffee, but this one isn't $100 a bag. It's affordable. And this doctor formulated, you're looking at me, Joe D. Check out the 6 mushroom blend for our nutrition portion of this right now with Vibra 360. And I will just say after the coffee, I will say, team, wonderful doctors, wonderful CEO who has got just the community consciousness of a PhD, ND, Renee Brown. I would just say, as the coffee slogan is, I love y'all, a latte. So when you check out the book, you will see Renee Brown in there, Rosie with her roses. I know you're going to bring such mental purpose to this and emotional. And then I'll just wind it up for today. Renee, the next 10 minutes, the floor is yours. My radiant, absolutely red hot Renee, as always. So let's take a look, take a listen.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, this has just been a lot of fun discussing the fun in the fundamentals this far. So with that, I thought I'd just explain a little bit about functionally the difference between men and women and what we're seeing here at Next Level Recovery. And then we also have recovery housing. So we have that for men and we have that for women. And what's interesting is I often look at the houses and they really give me so much insight. And I will tell you what is easy to glean is that at the men's house, there's very little medication. They feel physically better when they come in to see us, and they come in with the same level of addiction that we see in maybe mental health challenges as well as the women. But the difference in the women's house is that they are usually on far more meds for medical conditions. And I'm going to tell you what we've noticed. For the men to be successful, social activity and social touch, that connection throughout the day, 7 times less than women, they're going to flourish. They're going to do so well. And we just see so much different in the women's house. And how do we need to structure for success? And it really comes down to, you know, the complexity and how layered we are and how rich we are with different neurology where social and emotional is concerned. We really take up more real estate in the brain. And what that means is we're picking up on more social cues. We're picking up on more emotion in any room. You know, you ask any 2 women in a room, whether it's business or a PTA meeting, and we can notice who might be having relationship problems, who's feeling a little bit down and out, who is just looking like they just are on cloud 9 or medically improving from the last time we saw them. We have all of these antennas, you know, just poking out of our bodies. And it changes how we do life. So with that, you know, what I thought I'd mention is we do have a variety of clinicians that we work with, and I heavily advocate a great therapist. You know, if life is good or if you're facing a challenge, it's kind of nice to be able to have someone that knows you and can process trauma or whatever it is that's a challenge that you're facing throughout the lifespan. But on a real functional level, there is no replacement for that woman-to-woman bonding that we have. And that, you know, just like what Dr. Bell just brought up, that bond, that's one of our strengths. And there is nothing like a long conversation with a girlfriend. You know, Dr. Jody and I have experienced that where we're just free, just let it out and be done with it. But we have to process it. We have to communicate. We have to, I mean, it's really cool, but it is the most freeing experience. And it's part of the beauty and gift of being a woman, what that gives to us in our lives. We can also experience increased oxytocin with those relationships that we have with our children. And as we're having these bonding discussions with different people and women in our lives, I'll have to share that when I reflect on this, women, our relational health becomes far more important than a man's because we're juggling more relationships in our lives, and we find meaning and purpose and pleasure in these relationships, and they're often the topic when we have girl talk. I love today just the laundry list that we went through with the doctors, all of the doctors today, with what I call good self-care. Dopamine for motivation in life, serotonin for that self-regulation and helping us balance our different moods, because we definitely have more of a change in moods than men do. So when we talk about things like mindfulness, reading, yoga, art, writing, different things that bring us back into balance, sleep, nutrition, my brother's words come just right into my head because he is so good about, I kind of call him a lifestylist, because really, truly, the habits that we build, who we are, it's about our lifestyle. And what he always suggests is, how are you going to keep it fun? Because that's the sustainability. It's right there. And I have to say, Dr. Glenn, now this is kind of funny because you mentioned like elimination was one of the things you mentioned. I've always struggled with some of that. And what was just a pleasant surprise is I just thought, how am I going to make movement more fun? I don't need very much of it each day throughout the day, but I need to make it meaningful and I need to do it on purpose. Most of all, I need to keep it fun. And I'll tell you, I recently discovered a trampoline park, and the benefits on every single level, brain, sensory, our neurobiology, it's been wondrous. But immediately, I've been taking some natural remedies to help me with some elimination. Bam, it just disappeared with the trampoline park. My joints, Dr. Jody was just talking about injuries this morning. Wow, I'm doing so well. And I'm just feeling like I'm 20 years old, free as a bird. And I'm just running in the trampoline park and just feeling so good. So keeping everything fun, with everything that we've talked about is, I think, just the best self-care. I definitely love to shop, but self-care, I mean, just challenge everything.
Now we're back to the shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Shoe shopping. Let's talk about that next show. But you guys, there is gold in what is free that we've talked about today. And I'm just going to leave with the idea that everything can change. Perception is so powerful. And as women, we can hold so many different perceptions. And that's the key to shifting our mindset as well as gratitude.
Yes, and you're not alone, as we learned last month about shoe shopping, because Glenn, even when he packs, has a shoe for every day on a travel day. So, the Mars Venus thing, we're getting closer. But Renee, so beautiful how you just brought this back together, and I can just say that a lot movement with and being the parasite. Dr. Princess said there are two ways to get that movement going, and the other M for movement is, I want to give honor to Dame Doria Cordova in both of our books. She is over in Malaysia finishing up. She's going to be launching her epic legacy book, Money and You, in 3 months in collaboration with Healthopedia. But as you know, she's got her next Money and You coming back. Yes, we'll all be down in Southern California. Ben and Bill and Glenn, we're going to be there. But let's just take an aloha look at the financial pillar, the one and only Dame Doria Cordova, who shows balance with CEO opportunity through her financial pillar of health.
Money and You is the longest running entrepreneurial, experiential, transformational training in the world. And we have been impacting the lives of over 200,000 graduates from over 85 countries since 1979. I am Doria Cordova and I own Money and You. And I would like to invite you to join us to the next program where you will have an opportunity to be with a group of people that will all be immersed in experiential games where you have an opportunity to clear any blocks that you may have to really creating wealth and doing good. But at the same time, learn the business success model, which really immerses you into a conversation about leverage. Leverage is key in creating wealth and doing good. And we have the results to show that this program works. People like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry's, and many others have attended this program and changed their lives and created new industry and are some of the most well-known change makers in the world. Thank you. Aloha. Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness gracious. And we never say aloha and goodbye to the dynamite Dame Doria Cordova. And this is a nice kind of segue into what I wanted to share this time around. As I've alluded to before, and Renee, I love this tribe. I love this community. I love this team, this wonderful Dr. Talk team. If you're just tuning into this now, Dr. Glen talked about just support and how the support of the hormones go into your organs. And then Bill brought it to the brain, because we're just going to call him Brainy Dr. Bill, with the fundamentals and how it really works together to create movement. And then we come to Miss Medical Mindshare and the mental portion. And Renee, how you went into self-care. And myself, as you well know, it's now been a little over 4 months since my big bear transitioned and he graduated to heaven. I can truthfully say this has been an emotional, they didn't tell me at the altar how to do widowhood. They don't give you a manual, all just saying. And practicing the 6 pillars of health, and what I've noticed navigating through this and why I am so blessed, and I'm going to give them an ad. I am here sitting in the 16,000 square foot research center and showroom and their auction house of Lion and Unicorn. And they're down in Fort Lauderdale. They have been such caretakers of me because they understood after interviewing 32 auction houses, after doing all this work, knowing where the next step of the Bob Bear collection, which is now my collection, where it needs to go. I found the match. Why? Because they spoke to my heart. Women go from heart to brain. That's just the way we go. And it's that emotional pillar. And my message today is very, very simple. On the emotional pillar, I really do say that, especially on Mindset Monday, that I'll be getting back into 2 shows a week here in a couple of weeks again. It's been a gradual thing. But I love Helen Keller's saying that she says, it's important to feel your emotions, but not to be held captive to them. Ladies, that's my message for mental health. Don't be captive to them, because as Les Brown says, what you're going through, you'll get through. And it's necessary to feel them. However, because I was coming up to a big transformation when I was down in South Florida last week, the pothole won and I twisted my foot. Kind of thought it probably was a stress fracture, but I will confess, this is the statement of the Jody Bear holistic approach to her life. Now, I would never tell you this one, but this is the way it goes. I'll say, well, if this is good, a whole is a whole lot better. It was getting to feel better as stress fractures do come together. And I decided to just go ahead and do my aqua jogging with my weights. Well, now I have a complete fracture. I didn't listen to my own body talk. So if you're going through stress, if you're behind the 8 ball, ladies, as you were saying, you were saying so eloquently that we're behind the 8 ball. Glenn and Bill, you said that. We all fry the bacon. In my case, it's tofu because I'm a vegetarian, but we fry it up. We do everything. And even though I thought I was resting, obviously my cup was getting full with everything, all things widowhood and life in this world after Bob Bear and what I've had to do and what I needed to do. So my acrostic, I always come up with them, is to rest. When you feel your body with this, feel your body, Olivia Newton-John said it, to feel your body talk, whether it's going through the 5 seasons that we've talked about so often on Life's Milkshake Moment, when I do a short on our Healthopedia channel 365, if we go ahead and do something on just getting into what I talk about, the 5 cleanses and how they are different. One size does not fit all. That one size does not fit most. Nutrition is not like Spanx. Okay, it needs to be. That's why we have homeopathists that can absolutely make sure it's tailored for you. But listen to your emotions. Make sure that you rest. What does rest stand for? It means, and now I'm doing it, of course, because I listened to my body talk and got to the ER. Oh, well, this is very interesting. What they said to me is, when did this happen? I said 2 weeks ago. Well, it was a full fracture. And you were doing what? I said, I was still doing my power walk and yoga. And they said, how? I said, on my feet and with my arms. So I was just saying this. And what it told me, that nutritionally having that balance in that physical pillar allowed me. They said, you're already knitting together. And then they asked me how old I was, guys. That was really fun. And I said 71. And they said, you're knitting together very well when you do, whether it's the fundamentals, whether they're keys to functional medicine. I think, Glenn, what did you call those again, my man? You call them not pillars. What did you call them, Glenn?
Fundamentals.
You call them fundamentals.
Fundamentals of health.
Yeah, the fundamentals, those pillars, as I did, when you're listening and you've got that body strong underneath this, and knowing that you're mentally secure because you have your spiritual pillar, because I know where my husband graduated to, without a doubt. And then you feel your emotions, but you're not captive to them. Then you can go on and be the social being that every woman desires to do, because I said it in the book. I said it on our 3-day summit. Women don't even go to the restroom by themselves. If we're in a group, men are just going to go off, use the men's room. Oh no, a woman, right, Renee? We say, okay, you're going to rest. I've got to go to the restroom. Who wants to go with me? And all of a sudden we're putting our lipstick and we're having a social function in the restroom. That's who we are. When Renee was talking about community, for me, it's self-care. So remember, in all things, when your emotions are feeling like this, when you've got a really big deal, when they list it, it's death, divorce, and a move in the home. And I've got one of the 3 right now. So take extra time. So rest, what does it stand for? Restore. And do it every day. If you have to put it in your calendar, ladies, acknowledge it. Don't be captive to that emotional pillar every day. Make it simple. Bill said it so well. You just make that 12 minutes a day, find a trampoline park, do something like that. And then remember saying, I'm terrific just as I am. Those are the thoughts that you put into me, and celebrate and tell yourself you're terrific, ladies. When you're getting out of the shower in front of the mirror, do a body scan from tip to toe, cellulite, incision marks, dimples and all. You are a terrific whole human being. And I'm going to just put this on our stage to make sure that you put this date is the 13th. There was an error in, I brought up the original one, so I do apologize with this, but this is our First Ladies Dinner. It will be at the Harvard Club in New York in honor of the, what I'm going to say is the International Women's Health Month. It's sponsored by Jabari Warriors, by Water Lake Ministries, AWHPI Global, which is the wonderful time when we have it with Princess herself, Maradian Ogulana. I'm so delighted. Then we're going to be moving in at the General Assembly in the UN. I'm privileged to be on a panel on the 14th. And the panel will be for the CSW 69th session on the status of women And Glenn, I'm borrowing a lot of your material because it was, and Bill, I am too. And Renee, we've already integrated everyone, but we are going to be doing the Goals for a Better World, the 17 Sustainable Goals at the UN on the General Assembly for. If you're in New York, just go ahead and make sure that you reach out to me, either DM me on Healthopedia 365. I'm on Instagram almost like daily. If you really want to do the old school thing, just go ahead and dial into my number, 800-820-0584. That's 800-820-0854. There is a cost for the reception, of course, but at the Harvard Club, there are going to be the first ladies, the legendary. We've got everything from 4 women, there are first ladies from Africa, 3 from the Middle Eastern countries, 2 from Asia, but 5 first ladies of our governors in the United States, because AWHPI Global is just not now African Women's Health Project International. It's all women. And what we're going to do and the biggest deal is, we are talking, check this out. You think she's got a story or two, guys and gal, Dr. Glenn, Dr. Bill, and Renee? A legendary award is going to the oldest woman. There's going to be somebody who's older than me in this room. She is 92 years young, and she actually was known as one of the lawyers, the consigliere of the New York Mafia. Now that's going to be a story for sure. And boy, the stories that we've had, Glenn, we're going to start with you. Just wind it up as we take this International Women's Month out. And thank you so much for sharing.
And just like a closing thought, and kind of going off of something that Bill was saying, where Bill, you were using the example of a man that's either looking for the bride, or what was it, the wildebeest that you said? But there's something I think is really important for really helping women. And men, you can play a role there. Now maybe I'm coming from an old school thought. I mean, I'm the last year of the baby boomers. So, the thought though, that recognition that these days, women can take care of themselves. Women can bring in the financial aspect that they need. They can protect themselves. But you know what, guys? We're in a society, and I'm well aware of this. I'm very much in touch with my feminine energy. Yet I still own being a man. And I think there's kind of this shift in society where men are recognizing the need for their feminine energy, but then forgetting that they're men. So at men, we can actually make it so much easier for women by still owning our manhood, still being, even though a woman can provide for herself financially and can protect themselves, own that you're a man and you will provide and protect your woman. And whether this is your wife, a significant other, or even just close friends in your life, that we can make such an impact by just taking some of that stress off of a woman on a regular basis, to allow them to live a much more balanced and happier and healthier life. And we play a big role in that. And I think we're kind of losing that in today's society. So that's my final thought.
Beautiful. That's such support. And the wildebeest, I'll take your support anytime. And I'll take your support, Bill, anytime as well. You're just such manly men. Don't you feel it, Renee? So, Bill, what is your final thoughts for today?
A couple of real simple things. The theme is the foundation, fundamentals, and pillars, and do those. Dial those in. Spend 80% of your time there, and everything else will be good. And then going back to what Renee said earlier about the trampoline park, make movement fun. Play is more important than exercise. And you go out and play, swing, go on the trampoline, laugh and giggle while you do that, and work hard while you'll do it, and you'll get all the benefits of that. And then following up on what Glenn was just saying again, is we have lost masculinity. There are both energies going on, and there's only 2 sexes, so we can get that to, and there's a reason. The masculine energy is to provide and protect and adore, and the women's is to nurture and doing that. And we can use those same things. We all have both energies. And Glenn brought it on perfectly. Stand in being a man. A man will help a woman be a woman and give them a place to open up to. And women being feminine, it's not illegal. And allowing them the place to, at least that moment, or have that section of their life where they can be soft and adored and like they should be. And you bring those together, get your fundamentals down, men be men so women can be women, and have fun doing it. Not in a weird way, but
but we can have, if we want to have fun doing it, it's all good. And did you notice, Renee?
It's even better. It's even better.
And we've got the men underneath us. I feel so supported in this conversation. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful, beautiful, such fun. So Renee, tell us your final thoughts.
My final thoughts would be to just reflect back on how relational we really are. And we have so many health benefits to gain from that. And if we ignore benefits, but certainly what we can do today is really just reminisce on all of the ideas, the fundamentals, everything that we've talked about, and enjoy creating some good cravings. You know, kind of just like, I'm just going to throw it out there, avocados. You know, you add them in your diet and you're like, just like, when can I have the next avocado? You know, and we can think about that with the exercise.
Renee, look at this. Did you see what John just brought up there? He's got an avocado. It was a shoe last week. Now he's got an avocado. Oh, that's so funny. So finish up. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just didn't want you to miss the picture of the avocado.
Oh my goodness. No, I love that is a wrap. Create a good craving and have some fun with everything that we've talked about today, because that's what's sustainable.
Okay, and I'm going to put the guacamole together with the avocado, because it's really the tree of life with food. It's really built like a woman. And knowing that heart disease that we've overtaken men, unfortunately, now on heart disease, eat some tomatoes with it and de-stress and detoxify, because the tomato is really the heart thing. And I just had to throw a little nutritional tidbit, but thinking about the tree of life, feminine and masculine energy. It's in every culture, every religion. When you remember the feminine and masculine and together in support and community, you come up to the crown. And that's what the essence of a woman, in our poem that's in our book, The Essence of a Woman, it said, the essence of a woman who she unabashedly knows who she is, and with her creator given talents will embrace them, explore them, and go far beyond any thing she ever imagined in this world, in the next. That is the essence of a woman. Thank you for letting me bring this out to the world, and you all being in this book. Thank you for being in my life. Until next time, we will be back with our panel, and we're talking about Let's Spring Forward to Health, April 17th. It is a Thursday again. As we always say, until next time, absolutely take care of your 6 pillars or foundational fundamentals of health, but make it a great and awesome. Thank you for being in my life, you three. You're truly, truly, I'm a blessed woman because of it. But let's wrap it up with make it a great Healthopedia kind of day. Ciao for now.
Woman up.